Hello and welcome to a deck that I've made. This is a Junk Blue Eyes deck based on Synchros, although it does have Xyz and Link monsters in it. So might as well get started with the deck list. So to start, we have our monsters. There's a lot of monsters. Most of the deck is monsters, at least half of it. But a lot of that is helped by the fact that there's a lot of tuners as well as the hand traps. There's only 3 hand traps, but there's a lot of tuners. So let's get started. First we have a Scrap Synchron, a Jet Synchron, Assault Synchron, Wheel Synchron. These are important for our junk bit. Then we have 2 junk converters and 2 junk synchrons for the rest of our junk setup of monsters. Next up is for our dragons. We have 3 blue eyes, obviously, and then we have our alternates. So we have Blue Eyes Spirit of White, Blue Eyes Alternate, and then we have our Blue Eyes Helpers with Neo Kaiser, 2 Sage of with Eyes of Blue, a Maiden of White, a White Stone of Legend, and White Stone of Ancients, Dictator of D, Star Liege, Stafer. This just helps us get our dragons out, and this lets us control what our opponents attack, which is a very nice effect. Next up we have our hand traps. So we have an Effect Veiler because of the tuner and light, which is good for our blue eyes. And then we have 2 Ash Blossoms for obvious reason. If you know Ash Blossom, then you know why I have 2. And then to finish off our monsters, we have our 2 rituals, which is our Blue Eyes Chaos and our Blue Eyes Chaos Max, for that extra damage that they deal. Next up we have our spells. So to start we have our 1 extra unique spell, which is our Monster Reborn, which lets us just resummon a monster and as well as take a monster from our opponent's graveyard if we want to. Then we have our disruptions, Burden of the Mighty to make our opponents deal less damage based on its level. The ability to destroy all monsters on the field. This comes in useful if like you're ready to summon a bunch of cards, but your opponent like has too good of a defense. Dark Ruler, no more. It's just a good disruption. Harpy's Feather Duster, again another good disruption. And then we have our Synchro spells next. So we have 2 copies of Tuning, Synchro Fellowship, and a Scrapyard. For our Blue Eyes, we have our Chaos Form for our rituals, Melody of the Awakening Dragon, Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragon, Burst Stream of Destruction, and Dragon Treasure. Dragon Treasure is a nice effect because it lets us get an increased attack and defense on one of our dragons. And now we finish it off with our traps for our main deck. So to finish off our main deck, we have Back to Front, which is good for renewal. One-way Synchro to get tuners out. Synchro Zone to help out with our junk section. Then we have Castle of Dragon Souls, which I personally like because it lets us banish a dragon to give a dragon renewal. It's really nice. And then True Light and Majesty of the White Dragon. And now we finish off our deck with our extra deck. So our extra deck is maxed out at 15 cards. So let's start with our Xyz. So we have an Indigo Eyes Silver Dragon and an Artifact Durandal. Durandal is nice for its effects, which lets us reshuffle our hand as well as just make spells and traps different effects. And then Indigo Eyes is just a good Blue Eyes Xyz. Next, for our Link monsters, we have Spiritless Eyes of Blue, Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres for Blue Eyes, and then a Scrap Lurven for our Junk. And I'll let this get tuners out. And then for our Junk Synchros, we have our Formula Synchron, and Scrap Warrior and Junk Speeder for our support synchros. And then we have a Junk Warrior and Junk Warrior Extreme for our main Junk synchros. For our Blue Eyes synchros, which is the last section, first of all, we have Ultimate Zulkin, which is just a good support for summoning dragons. And then we have Coral Dragon, which is just good support in general. And then for our general Blue Eyes, we have Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, and our Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. These are nice synchros for Blue Eyes, and that's the deck list. I'm very happy with this and how it turned out. This is like the first Yu-Gi-Oh deck that I've actually made and felt really good about. So, if you have any suggestions, please make the suggestions and I will read them.